Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom CHIEFScast live from the Wolf Den. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking about Week 14 and previewing Week 15. And a big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and to find your local chapter. Also, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel.
Today we'll be talking about your Kansas City Chiefs with Chris Wedding joining us from Santa Monica, California. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, guys. Glad to be here.
All right, we're of course presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Visit them at completewedo.com. All right, so Chris, you are living with our ghosts, only dreaming of the West Coast. You don't want to be our fallback crutch anymore. Tell us about how you made it to LA and what you have going with Chiefs fans out there.
Well, I'm not in Kansas anymore, or Kansas City rather. Been out here for about 20 years, and I'm a Lee Summit boy who came out here to pursue a dream, making films, and along with that, started a Chiefs group out here in Los Angeles about 10 years ago. And it started off with just a small little group of people, and it's grown to probably about 3,000 plus here in Los Angeles now. All the people coming out of the woodwork once they realized there's a Chiefs bar in Los Angeles, and they kind of went crazy for that. And we've hosted a lot of Kansas City fans visiting from Kansas City over the years. And our goal out here, we always say, is to give Chiefs home field advantage when they come to Los Angeles, because if there's any kind of fans that are the worst, it's probably the Chargers fans when it comes to being fair weather fans. And so it's really easy to take over their stadium. And so that's what we've been doing every year since the Chiefs started coming out here. And even in San Diego too, we were doing it. So yeah, we love to show Los Angeles how a tailgate's supposed to be,
That's great. I mean, that sounds like a film right there. Everything that you just told, that sounds like a film. So is that one of the greatest productions you put together?
It's a lot of fun to produce for Chiefs Los Angeles, for sure. Now that we've got 6 more chapters out here and a lot of leadership, it's been a lot of fun putting things together, for sure. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, yeah, I know that the Chargers fans, my wife's from San Diego. I know how fair weather they were when they were actually in the town that, they thought wanted them. And I always just thought the whole move to LA was bizarre because I just have a hard time believing that there's a ton of Charger fans out there. And, the Spanos family's always done a bang up job of making good decisions. So it makes sense that they would end up in the big stadium in LA. But are there really Charger fans out there?
Well, I'm pretty sure that all the Charger fans out here are just Rams fans that couldn't afford the ticket prices, so they went for the Chargers.
They truly are the Clippers of
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if that, for sure.
Yeah, both San Diego relocations don't really win anything. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so for sure. Same color,
seven chapters, right?
Yep, 7 chapters all around Los Angeles County, Orange County, and I think even Riverside County, if I'm not mistaken. I think Inland Empire is all the way out there. So, yeah, we're covering a large swath of land out here, and it's great because it just gives everybody a place to go and watch with a community, and not just sitting at home watching. You really get to be a part of a community out here, which is it's really unique. If you go to Kansas City, you see other people with Chiefs jerseys on. You're like, Chiefs, and people are like, yeah, sure, this is Kansas City, of course, Chiefs. But in LA, if you see someone wearing red or a Chiefs hat or something, there's an instant bond, and so it's really fun. It's our little slice of Kansas City here in LA. We often have great barbecue, either Gates or Jack Stacks or Casey Joe's will send some sauce out for us, and so we really try to make it an authentic experience. We play all the music at the bars, and we know all the chants and all that. So it's just a little piece of home for people who are away from home, and so that's why we love doing it.
That's great. I mean, one of the things I always think about is nobody's really from LA. LA is just a series of transplants, so it's nice you've been able to corral all the Kansas City people together. Any other big fan groups out there that you find yourself competing with at any of these spots, or have you kind of staked claim to all of these places that are Chiefs Kingdom?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of great NFL groups out here. You know, there's a lot of people from all over out here, like you said. And so when we were traveling around bar to bar before we found our home 10 years ago, my buddy Jonathan Dillon and I would go to all the opposing teams' bars that we were playing. And so, you know, we've found, you know, and there's definitely a big Raiders presence out here as well, and that's always interesting. That's always a roll of the dice in terms of what kind of Raiders fan you're going to run into. I would say the Eagles and the Ravens have some really really good presence out here, and some good bars that are pretty harrowing to walk into, you know, when you're just a couple of Chiefs fans and you're just surrounded by either Ravens or Eagles, because they just won't, they don't hold back, you know. And it's a little different. I mean, everybody has a good time, you know. We go in having a good time. We're not trying to do anything but just, you know, talk a little smack and hopefully walk out with a win. But when people, we love it when opposing teams fans comes to our bars now, because, you know, we always welcome them, and they always, I mean, I had a Cowboys fan that was practically going to join our group the other day. He was just like, oh, this is such a cool, like, you guys have such a good vibe, you know. It was really funny. I was like, well, hey, here's a t-shirt, you know, I'll give you a hat if you want. So yeah, we always have a good time out here, and I would say LA is a great place to find anything you want to find out here, because there's just so many people from all over, like you said.
Got it. So one more quick LA question before we get into the football game. How big of a deal is Lincoln Riley coming out to coach USC?
Oh, I'm not the guy for college football. Sorry, buddy. I went to art school, so I don't have. I'm a filmmaker, so I didn't get to go to a college with a football team, so I don't really keep up with that. But it sounds like it's a big deal.
Got it. Well,
I have a question. Hey, I have a question real quick, Josh. Did you go to film school, Chris, or where'd you go to?
I did. Yeah, I went to film school in New York. It's a school called School of Visual Arts.
Very cool. All right, nice. That sounds challenging and everything. Always one of my favorite questions to ask people who make do films or create any kind of content for like the big screen or whatever screen is like, how did you get into it? So it sounds like you went the film school route, and a lot of challenging and a lot of educational thing. I have some people, I knew some friends who went to like film schools and everything. It seems like they did a lot of learning. There's a lot of like introduction, but the big time learning happens when you're probably on the set doing things. At least that's what they tell me, but I don't know if that's.
It's absolutely right. You know, I know a lot of people who just skipped college altogether and went straight to working as a production assistant somewhere when they were 18, and you know that they had 4 extra years of experience over anybody that went to film school and then came out. So either route can work, I think.
Yeah, sounds great.
What's the most interesting production type of thing that you've been part of? What's the most interesting thing you've produced?
I'm actually I just got back from Saudi Arabia. I'm directing and producing a docu-series about a guy who's been to every country in the world, and he's filmed all of those countries along the way, and he has a YouTube, Facebook following of like 8 million people. And so been to 6 plus countries with him now, because we were just doing the last 6 as he was completing his journey, and Saudi Arabia was the last one. So that's definitely a highlight. We're in post-production on that now. And then probably one of my funnest experiences was I wasn't a production assistant anymore, but I had a buddy call me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to be a production assistant on like the greatest film, you know, ever made?" And I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "It's Indiana Jones 4. Like, do you want to come out and be a PA for a day?" I was like, "Sure." And so I show up, the Universal Studios, like the back lot, and it's, you know, it looks like a jungle back there. There's this pyramid rising out of the jungle, and up top, no kidding, was Steven Spielberg at 9 a.m. in the morning. Ooh. His hands are like on his hips, and he's just like smoking a cigar, just overlooking the whole production, you know. And there goes, you know, Harrison Ford walking by me dressed up as Indiana Jones, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Now, granted, awesome. The movie went on to be like terrible, but everybody on set was already talking about how bad it was going to be. You know? And that's another South Park reference where,
yeah, you know, how did you not get arrested as part of that?
Yeah, exactly. I was actually kind of relieved when my name wasn't in the credits. I was like, good, because that movie was terrible. But it was a really fun experience for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So where's your favorite place to be, on the production side, behind the camera, or in the editing room?
Oh, for sure on set behind a camera. That's kind of where I belong.
on set behind the camera. That's great. Yeah, there's actually a good film school at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and they have a good like production program and everything. I run a wedding and event service company, and I've got a bunch of videographers that have been through there, and then I've done a bunch of just kind of on camera work with different professional type of things that I've done, and worked with a bunch of producers that have gone through that film school. So it's a really fascinating group of people to work with, and the whole world of content creation and production is just awesome. So glad you're living a good life doing that.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, you know. It's not as glamorous as it sounds all the time, but it's fun.
Well,
at least every day
is
is different, you know. But Josh, you and I should switch names. You need the last name Wedding.
I probably do, actually. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of, one last thing about Los Angeles, only in Los Angeles do people stop me and be like, "Oh, Wedding, did you change your name because you're a wedding videographer?" It's like only here do people let you change your name to like be your profession.
That's a strategy I wanted to do here in Kansas, where I was going to change my name, last name to Brian Reynolds to Brian Best, so I can open the liquor store and call it Best Liquor Store or Best Video Store or Best Gym or Best. And they're like, "Are you sure the Best?" Like, it's my name, so I call it the Best. So. But yeah, wedding. So it turns out this might work if I grew up in Southern California, but
there you go.
I couldn't pull the trigger here.
Or we could all just change our last name to Superlative and be like, "Hey, we're clearly, the most extraordinary version of whatever it is we're talking about."
Right.
All right. So you run a bar for Chiefs fans, and you guys got to watch a game, and I'm guessing you had some locals based on the way that story went. So what was game day like at your place? Laying this just unholy beat down on the Raiders.
Well, I mean, right off the bat, like Mike Hughes, coming into the game, filling in for Snead, and just like first play of the game, picking up a fumble and running it back, like it was bananas. I couldn't imagine. There's no better way to start a game ever besides that. So. And from there, it was just an electric energy the whole game. I mean, that was like a game for the ages in terms of beat down, and so to have it, be done after the Raiders, started with their little stunt on our logo and all that. It was just, I mean, one thing, like the universally true in the world is that everybody hates the Raiders. And so, definitely that day we were America's team no matter what, because we were just laying it down on the Raiders. And I can't imagine anybody, in the world, everybody just must have been cheering us on for sure. So.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, you didn't mention this at first, but there actually was a first play of the game. It was that stomp on the logo. Like Chris, talk about what it was like. Chris and I watched the game at our back room at the Buffalo Wild Wings here in Milwaukee, and I don't think I've laughed more through a football game than that one. But Chris, how did this start?
Just I can hear this.
So, which Chris?
Which Chris?
Thomas. Sorry, Chris. Thomas. I keep forgetting we have two Chris's.
So yeah, what in terms of just the boobery by the Vegas Raiders? I mean, yeah, I don't know what you're thinking after the whole stunt last year with the bus, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Just so you throw that out. I got played after the game, but.
Saw that was hilarious, and they played on the loudspeakers after the game let out. That was awesome.
They had to go out of their way to find a recording of that.
They did.
Nursery rhymes don't have good recordings. You have to look hard for that.
No, what's funny is my favorite guy that I listened to, he was going on about how teams that do crap like that literally are probably afraid or already thinking that they're beaten before the game starts, and they're trying to do something to, I guess, psych up the energy or do whatever to get the team pumped up so they can get some type of emotional advantage. Well, that clearly backfired if that was Yannick Ngakwe's intent. But yeah, man, it's such a dumb organization. Like, what are they thinking? I don't know, but that was perfect. To just lay down a 48 spot on them. There probably could have been worse.
Well, and that's it. I mean, the only way that could have been worse is the Raiders needed more than 5 turnovers, which is an ungodly number, by the way. Or the Chiefs would have had to decide to run the score up, which would just be dumb. I mean, it would be stupid to try and keep your starters in for more plays, risking injuries to prove a point against a Raiders team that had already proven the point themselves.
Well, if you looked at it, they kind of were trying to run the score up in the first half because Reed calls a timeout on the Raiders last series.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But there was a limit, and I appreciated the coaching staff for knowing what that limit was. And it's the whole saying: if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Mm-hmm. The Raiders have won stupid prizes, and we didn't bite into that. Brian, what were your thoughts on that game?
Am I allowed to feel bad? Like around halfway through the second quarter, towards the end, like, is that weird that I felt bad? It's just like I feel sorry for that. That's okay. So I should no. This is like what is this like strike hard, strike fast, no mercy kind of thing?
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
Oh, Cobra Kai, right? So no mercy.
The season 4 trailer came out the other day.
Oh yeah, that drops what, the 31st or whatever. So I gotta make sure. Watch that. But so okay. Obviously, it was a lot of fun. There's a moment where I'm like, oh, God, I feel like we're picking on them. But then you come back to like, well, these are professionals. Please stop thinking that way. You need to get out of this mindset and enjoy what's happening because it doesn't really happen all that often. So, I have to say this. I prefer W's. I prefer W's coming hard whenever they are, vicious in terms of how I think we scored pretty much except for the first drive. I think every drive after that or something like that. It seems like every drive ended in some sort of form of offense scoring, and we want to continue seeing that. And the defense just laid waste to what was in front of them. And I remember getting texts around from my friends around the halfway through the third quarter. They're like, why is Mahomes still in the game? Like, why is everyone still in this game? And lo and behold, like 3 plays later, Henning was getting the helmet on, getting ready to go in there. So yeah, a lot of fun. I think remember we were talking about this in a previous episode leading up to this game, where like we want to see more what happened in Las Vegas, and boy, did they deliver! It just kept going and going, and it didn't stop. It was just tanks coming up over the hill and burying and rolling over everything that was right in front of them. So if we can just keep that rolling into the next game, I mean, what can we say? Anything you're right. Like I did enjoy that logo jump at the beginning of the game there, and then like the first play, it's a fumble, scoop and score. I'm like, oh, that's demoralizing. I think we're gonna have a fun day today.
Perfect.
So, it was something else. It was great.
I mean, karma's great. It just doesn't normally happen that quickly. Did you see at the end when who was it? It was Frank Clark was kicking field goals into the net.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a mood on the sideline. I mean, for me, the stuff that I really liked were, one, just making that statement quickly. 2, I like that they finally got Josh Gordon in the end zone on that slant, and I don't even care if it was just Josh Gordon, you're going to score on this one. That's going to be something that should pay dividends for us moving forward. And then it seems like the team is having fun again. And during the period of time when they were losing games, they weren't having fun. And you can call it the swagger being back. You can call it just the joy being back in football. But this team enjoys being around each other again. It just seems like everybody's loosening up. And, the one thing that we really need to loosen up is Mahomes' arm and his mind. And, we've talked about this before. Maybe it's the fact that he's got an infant in the house. Maybe it's the fact that he's just busier than he's ever been. Doesn't really matter. I have no doubt in my mind that his mind gets more right every single day. And, look out for the Chiefs. And speaking of look out for the Chiefs, we have a very big statement game coming up here in a couple days out in LA, where they come out to SoFi Stadium to play a road game. And Chris Wedding, you mentioned earlier.
Not if I can help it.
Yeah, you like to try to make sure that the Chiefs have home field, even when they're in other places. So you have some stuff planned. What do you have going on this Thursday?
Yeah, well, anyone who's been out to LA before would remember when the Chiefs came to town last minute for the Rams when the Mexico game got switched out, and we were actually able to put together a pretty huge tailgate last minute, and I think we fed 600 people. We had probably had 1,000 people come through. And so we just kind of really want to put our stamp on the tailgate game out here in Los Angeles. You know, we're buddies with the Lot J crew out in Kansas City who throw great tailgates, and that's actually where I met Nate was at that game. And so now at SoFi Stadium, funny enough, we're in the pink parking lot, but it's actually Lot J. So hopefully we can carry on that vibe that you guys got out there in Kansas City, and that's always our goal. And we always try to feed people for free. You know, we usually get at least Thursday's an interesting day for a game for people to fly in and stuff. So we think we're gonna get probably 400 to 500 people to feed, but we always do it for free, and then we just have like a raffle, and we just ask people to buy raffle tickets to help us pay for it. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
So you're in the pink lot and it's Lot J. Is this Stan Kroenke just messing with the Chargers? And this is part of the fee to get him out there? Because some of this is just lining up a little too conveniently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. So what's the spread gonna look like? Where's the food coming from? Who's cooking it? Give us
so great question. We got a guy named Mike Glaze who's out of Lompoc up here, but he's also from Kansas City, and he does Kansas City style barbecue. And so he is the one who helps us feed everybody. Right as we speak right now, he's getting all the tri-tip ready to bring out and the ribs. So we're pretty excited about having a good meal and going to that game feeling good.
Got it. So what are you most looking forward to from the product on the field? What are you looking forward to from a Chiefs actual game plan standpoint?
I'm looking for redemption. You know, I think you mentioned 5 turnovers by the Raiders last week, but you know, we had 4 against the Chargers last time we played, and I think that was a big deal for us when it came to the loss. So I mean, it was still a close game, right? So I really want us to go out there, win the turnover, differential battle, and put our defense back on the stage they belong on. Yeah, I really, when I was watching last week, I felt like I was watching the Tampa Bay defense that beat us in 2020, because I remember I saw Tampa Bay roll over the Packers in the playoffs, and they just looked so dominant. And I told my buddy, I was like, "There's nobody can beat them. Like that is an insane defense." Last week when I was watching the Chiefs, I felt the same way. They just looked like there was no stopping that defensive line, and I would love to see that carry forward into this week. Praying that Chris Jones is not is able to get off the COVID list, so that we can have Ingram, Jones, and Clark all in the front 3 again like we did last week. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually really looking forward to the shootout. I keep mentioning that Rams game, and that was a shootout. I think both teams put up almost 50 points in that game.
54-51.
That's right. And so I think with Herbert on the field, he is by far the best quarterback in the AFC West besides Mahomes, and he's got a lot of talent, just like Mahomes has a lot of talent surrounding him. And so I think that Herbert Mahomes battle will be so fun to watch, and obviously we want to come out on top. But it's going to be a good game, a good Thursday night game, and there's so much at stake being for the AFC West. So there's just everything's lining up to make it just an electric atmosphere for sure.
Got it. Chris Thomas, what do you think the keys to victory are? We've got the front 7 keeping the pressure, and the defense stepping up from Chris Wedding. What do you have for the keys to victory?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Chris said. Don't get in your own way. I mean, that's really the big thing here. But the other thing they took advantage of, that, I mean, it's a glaring weakness of the Chargers, is their run defense. And Clyde had himself a nice day, other than the fumble. But I mean, he ripped off over 5 yards of carry in that first matchup. And you mix in a little bit of Clyde, you mix in a little bit of Darryl. Just embrace the methodicalness that this offense can be from time to time. Don't turn the ball over. Don't commit, holding penalties left and right. But I think if they just go out there and if they have an even turnover battle, I think they'll win this game. And then the other thing about the Chargers on their offensive side, they're going to be without Rashawn Slater. And then Austin Eckler is a bit banged up with an ankle. So that may actually help out with the loss of Chris Jones a little bit if Chris Jones is out.
Yeah, he's got a pretty short window to get 2 negative COVID tests. I mean, I think it has to happen tomorrow and then Thursday morning. Yeah. So that's pretty sketchy. Team's most likely going to have to be picking up Chris Jones. Brian, what are you looking at for keys to victory?
I just want to point out that one of the things that I don't think I pointed out in the last, this season thus far is after the Super Bowl last year and during the offseason, pretty much the discussion was offensive line, right? Just like we got to build that. After we just saw the Super Bowl, unacceptable, got to fix that. And I just really like how that has not been a topic of discussion much this season because they seem to be doing their job really well. It's not really something we point to as, is it Humphreys? Yeah, he's I see like conversations from a lot of people I follow on Twitter who are like, watching professional football as their job and they're commentators, and they're like, he really should be considered for offensive player of the year, but they don't give it to O-line. They give it to offensive output like quarterbacks and running backs and receivers and such. But yeah, I mean, I just really like the fact that Mahomes is getting the time he needs, and actually watching them kind of bully the defensive. You see like highlights of Orlando Brown just tearing into people.
He has been mauling people last month. Yeah,
in Tooney, and just like the way what they're doing to give Mahomes the time. It's just like Chris Wedding will appreciate this. Like good editing. It's like when you don't notice it, that's what good editing is. You don't realize it. No one notices. No one says. It's like
accurate.
And then so yeah, there's no one's really we notice it, but it's like it's not really a discussion. We're focusing on defense, we're focusing on offensive output, like because the offensive line's taken care of, and and it's easy to be it's not it can be dismissive, and I just want to take a moment now to say I really appreciate how far we've come in the last calendar year, for crying out loud. So that's good. So keep that up. Defense, oh my gosh, how great has the defense been in the last 6 games, 7 games, whatever it's been? I mean, can you imagine this? Whenever we were 3-4, like, oh geez, I was like, we felt like the sky. We didn't feel the sky was falling. We saw what was going on, but like a lot of the commentary online was just like the sky was falling. But it's just so much fun to see them be as dominant as they have been in the last 8 weeks.
And I mean, this is totally why you don't make major coaching changes in the middle of the season, because maybe the players are just banged up a little bit. I mean, I know Chris Thomas and I were throwing stuff out on all the different social media platforms. Is hashtag fire spag still a thing, or are we still doing that now, or we move past that one? All right, so let's do a quick round table with a score prediction for this one. I'm gonna go with Chiefs 35, Chargers 21. Brian, what are you thinking?
Okay, so this is one of the games. Okay, between this is back to back, right? So we should have won the Ravens game, and if I recall correctly, this is also the game we were right there. The turnovers really put us in behind the 8 ball, so if we keep turnovers in check, we play like we've been playing. Yeah, it should be. I don't think 35. I'm gonna go 28-14. Chiefs.
Okay, Chris Thomas.
I think the Chargers, Brandon Staley will have half a brain and not play single high defensively against the Chiefs like the Raiders did most of the game. So I think they'll keep the Chiefs under 30, but I still like them to win by a touchdown. I'm going to go 27-20.
Chris Wedding, what you got?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be there at the game, and so I'm really hoping for a shootout, one that we win. So I'm going to say a little higher score, but say Chiefs 41, Chargers 31.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, no, I mean, offensive football, if we can get back to the point where we're throwing that kind of offensive power out there, I think that would be great. And I'm perfectly fine with the Chargers putting up 31 points if Herbert goes off and we create 3 turnovers.
Yep.
There you go. And if we can spread the ball around like we did the last game, that was insane how many different people scored and how many people had, catches for over 25 yards. It was pretty impressive.
How about another pick 6 from Sorensen? How about that? I want to see that.
I'd love to see another 50 yards rushing and a touchdown from Derek Gore. Because first of all, you got to get to a point where he has to be in. And let me make sure that I'm really clear about this. And I hope it's not because there's a reason why Darrell Williams or Clyde Edwards-Helaire has to not play. So I wanted to get to a point where Derek Gore has to play again, and they hand him the ball. And I mean, Chris Thomas and I were talking about this. It was similar to the end of the KU Mizzou game, where the like walk on from Kansas comes on and scores points, and everybody just goes nuts. That's what Derek Gore scoring that touchdown was like. He's the walk on that comes in, and it's just like, oh, he just made a 3-pointer and scored 9 points. And
he is the Chris Tien with the mullet and the porn stash. Oh yeah,
exactly. Adam Morrison's younger brother that picked KU over Gonzaga.
That's right, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
All right. So any kind of things that you noticed from the rest of the AFC, Chris Wedding, anything you noticed from the other games, trends that you're seeing, teams that you're watching, anything like that?
Yeah, I just noticed that the Raiders and Broncos suck, and the Chargers are the only team built to take us on. So that's I'd be lying if I didn't say my butt cheeks are a little clenched right now. Looking forward to this game because this is a big one. If we can win this, then we've got a really good chance to go the distance to the first seed. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just really, I just know that these two teams are a great matchup. So
if you had to pick who you think is going to be playing in the AFC Championship right now, who do you think would be, and where's the game going to be held?
I'm thinking it could be Chiefs Patriots at Foxborough, right? Possibly. Yeah.
I think that mathematically there's not a way that the Patriots end above us, and we're not playing out there. They've got pretty much every single tiebreaker based on the number of AFC teams they've beaten. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Chris Thomas, what are your AFC notes, teams you're noticing, and where you think we're going to be seeing the championship game?
The tailspin that the Buffalo Bills have been on, man. I watched that game against the Bucks. I mean, that was pretty crazy how they came back and tied the game and took them to overtime. But man, they just can't catch a win right now. And then they may not make the playoffs. So that to me is surprising because I'm still pretty bullish on the Bills. I like them. I think they're a very balanced team, but they're just having a tough time finding W's right now. AFC Championship game, I'm going to say it's actually going to be Chiefs, Titans, and Nashville, and the Chiefs get some redemption after that 27-3 whooping and beat down the Titans.
Brian, what are you thinking?
Well, the Patriots are going to lose to the Dolphins, as we all know. And so I think it's going to tip the scales, Chiefs, Patriots. So I think it's going to be in Kansas City. I think because the Patriots, I mean, they can't beat the Dolphins. If I recall correctly, they somehow the Dolphins. Heck, Josh, weren't you saying the Dolphins are like in the AFC? Like they have do they still have a chance to get to the playoffs?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I have a spreadsheet that I put together every single week for all the stuff that I do when it comes to content around the Chiefs. And for the AFC, there's 13 teams on this because you have to pay attention to 13 teams. The other 3 are eliminated, and that's the Jets, Jags, and the Texans. But the lowest record at this point is the Dolphins at 6-7. Also the Raiders at 6-7, but those are 2 different kinds of 6-7. And then the Steelers at 6-1. The Dolphins play, let me see here, where are they at? They come off the bye. They play the Jets, the Saints, the Titans, and the Patriots.
Oh, man.
If they went out, they could theoretically still miss the playoffs, but went out feels like they make the playoffs there. And I think they dug themselves in too big of a hole at the beginning of the year. And you can probably thank the media getting tips from ownership and just creating the churn around the quarterback position for some of that. I think that has to be worth a win or two, but the Dolphins could theoretically be there. There's some 7-6 teams. You have the Bills, Bengals, Colts, Broncos, and Browns all sitting at 7-6 that are very, very much alive. So I mean, there's not a whole lot of easy games on the Titans or the Patriots docket at this point. The Titans have the Steelers in Pittsburgh, then the Niners and Miami at home, and then they go to Houston. I mean, that's 3 losable games for them. So yeah, I mean, teams that I'm noticing, you guys brought them up. The Bills, I don't know what to think of them, and I don't know that I would go bet on them missing the playoffs in Vegas or anything, but the talk that they're throwing in their post game about moral victories after these last 2, that would be pretty discouraging as a fan to have to sit there.
And Allen's banged up too. I heard he may not actually play this weekend.
There's a chance Josh Allen's not playing this week, which is going to totally off my fantasy team, which let's not even go there at this point. I'm looking out for the Colts to make the playoffs. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the Bills and the Bengals, and kind of curious to see how this whole thing plays out for the Ravens. My prediction is that the Patriots, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens in that order are going to be the top 4 seeds. I think the Titans drop a couple games. Chiefs and Patriots went out. Then Chargers, Bills, and Colts taking those wild card games. I think everybody's going to get really excited about the Chiefs Colts being a good game, and then it's just going to not be one that the Chiefs will roll through them. But I'm thinking that the AFC Championship game is going to be played in Arrowhead, and I'm kind of feeling wild. I think that the Patriots drop the ball in one of their matchups, and we end up hosting the Ravens with a chance to get humiliated as we atone for that one. So that's what I'm looking forward to for an AFC Championship game, and probably have to drive myself down there for that one.
Well, yeah, the table's set for the Dolphins to run over the Patriots. That's why we're on.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
That's the one, I think.
There you go. So, Chris Wedding, any thoughts on the NFC? Who are the teams that you're looking at over there? Any game notes you have?
I mean, I'm really curious to see what's going on with Aaron Rodgers' toe. Honestly, I think that was some interesting news coming out of there after the Bears game. So that could change a lot of things over there and shake things up. What about you guys?
Yeah, Chris Thomas, where are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that was it was a pretty good game last night between the Cardinals and the Rams. I still don't know what to make of the Rams. Is this team actually going to make a push? On paper, they look as good as anybody in the NFC, but the Packers look really good. I'm still really bullish on the Bucks. I mean, even though they're really banged up at the cornerback position, I still think they're the best team in the NFC. So I mean, and all 3 of those teams have Cardinals, Packers, Bucks. All 3 teams have 10 wins. That's going to be an interesting race coming down the line.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was Thomas pretty much set it up there. Like, well, 10 wins for the Cardinals, Packers, and Bucks. Now we're all what was once the Arizona was like the the big story with how well they were doing, and they're still in first place, but now they're one game. Now the Rams are one game away. So a lot of football left to be played, as we all know. I gotta say, it's the Cowboys. I mean, maybe they limp in, and I know they're still 3 games ahead, and maybe they limp in winning the NFC East. But there was a lot of talk, right, from the week 1 to week 5, like how deadly. And then I'm just thinking, the Dallas fans, for as patient of they have been for the last 20 years, I wouldn't hate it if they got a playoff game that they got to watch. And but I don't know how competitive they're going to be when it comes time for that. It's not looking. I just can't imagine it. I mean, something's going to have to happen because whenever we play them in the games we've and watching the Raiders play them, it was I don't know. It just wasn't as impressive as I think it needed to be the face of the Bucks and the Packers. But yeah, it's interesting how tight how the whole league, like NFL, is just complete. Everything's just so tight. Like everything, 1 or 2 games separates so many teams, and I guess that makes it kind of fun, right? Because if you run away with everything, that in itself is fun in its own way. But this is also brings more drama, more tension, and every game means something very dramatic. So that makes that enjoyable as well, watching each game. So, but yeah, I mean, the Bucks, I think with Thomas and that one, the Bucks seem to be doing what they do with Brady at the helm. I mean, I assume Cardinals they lost, and I assume they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. But I feel like the Cowboys are probably gonna limp into the playoffs. And yeah, Packers are we'll see what happens with Rodgers. But as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, then then that could be the story of the NFC Championship game. So, but yeah, Cowboys. I would say bearish from the Cowboys. However, they're winning. They probably will likely win the NFC East, but still, it's just going to be the first round of the playoffs might not be very fun for them.
Yeah, see, I've mentioned this before. This seems kind of like the college basketball tournament. You have all this fun upset type of stuff going on, and that's what the NFC regular season seems to be. But at the end of the season, we're going to have a Bucks Packers rematch. I don't know where it's going to be played. I don't know who it's going to win, but that's who I think we're going to be watching play. Matthew Stafford's a cute story right now. The Cowboys have been a cute story. The Cardinals have been a cute story. It's been fun to watch. It really has. I
heard a fun Matt Stafford stat today.
Yeah.
So Matthew Stafford has played 16 games against teams that have a record of 5 more wins than losses. So essentially, division winner type teams. And last night was the first time he beat a team like that. So he is 1-15.
And that's not all, playing for the Lions. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the Lions. He had Megatron that he was throwing to for a while. So I'm not particularly interested in hearing about, his horrible circumstances that he had to be part of. No, I mean, it just seems like we're gunning for chalk to be on the NFC side in particular. It doesn't, I just have a hard time picturing a whole lot of, chaos. And Brian, I also think it's pretty funny that you think the Cowboys fans have been patient. They're patiently waiting for the team to win 2 games in a row to say they're going to win the Super Bowl. Just
you have to be patient. You have to be patient since 2002 to go through all the quarterbacks, the Romos of the world, and everything like that. After the 90s, what you got used to going to the 2000s to now. I mean, that's got to be a certain level.
Testaverdes and
wow, since 1969, man. Like, exactly. Patience.
This whole charade that Stephen A. Smith does, that it's born out of a genuine feeling of just disdain of how Cowboys fans are. I don't know if you've ever been to a game at Jerry World. Highly recommend it because it's incredible. But you walk around in that parking lot, and if they haven't lost the 3 games before, how about them boys? We're going to the Super Bowl. And you just have all these just blockheads sitting in the parking lot that think they know how to tailgate, and it's just they're blockheads anyway. Chris Wedding, are you a fantasy guy?
I'm not, no, because if I did fantasy, then I would not do anything else with my life ever. So I've abstained so far.
I understand that. I did that for a long time. It's a drug and I'm addicted. So Brian, how'd Kirk Cousins do this week? He's your guy.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins scored below 16 points. He was projected for 19. Rare disappointment streak he's on right now. And let's see here. What happened to Thielen? I didn't watch the game, but he was 0.
He got hurt, I think.
Yeah. I lost a playoff matchup yesterday because I had Lamar Jackson as quarterback, and then I had Kareem Hunt playing running back. This one I kind of did to myself. I had Alexander Madison in the lineup. Should have known better on that one.
The thing is though, like Kirk Cousins, if I run Tannehill, he does just as bad. It's like Tannehill was not really living up to what we expect a team that beat us 26-3, whatever it was. And so I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with Cousins and all this one, on all this. But yeah, I'm a ride or die with Kirk Cousins. Mahomes is having a Kirk Cousins kind of year, which I like to say in our group chat, because I think they have the same level of, they're close to passing yards. I think they're like within a few yards of each other. Actually, Kirk Cousins having a good year. So keep it up.
See, and Chris Wedding, this is what you're missing out on. You don't get to be part of all these high caliber conversations about whether or not you're going to put any kind of digital faith in Kirk Cousins versus Ryan Tannehill.
I know. Now I know how my wife feels when I talk about cryptocurrency.
Oh, there you go. what are your top cryptos you're into?
But I will say that the one thing about fantasy football is it's blasphemous. The fact that you're sitting there rooting for Kareem Hunt right now, Josh, so hard for me to like swallow that pill cycle of like, being, people come to the Chiefs game. Like, I really want the Chiefs to win, but if this quarterback on the other team could score like 3 touchdowns, it'd be great for me. And I'm just like, this is so bizarre. It's so weird, but
like
I get it. I understand why it's so much fun though, because everybody I know does it. But for cryptocurrency, definitely gotta have. I really just want to get 1 Bitcoin, man. That would be the goal right now. But I, got some Ethereum, got some other things,
I bought 3 Bitcoin in 2013.
Did?
You did, and I sold it. I sold it like 6 months later. I made
that's the thing. Everybody I talk to that has been in crypto for a while, they all have these stories about how they had 500 Bitcoin, but then they sold it when it popped to like $4.
It really is diamond, it really is diamond hands, whatever they call it. That's the name of the game. It's like, how can you not hold it? Especially at that time, it was like it really is like you sell it because it's speculating. Like hindsight is 2020. Then we would all be rich playing Wall Street and playing crypto. But it's like if you can back then, visualizing the fact of going to 100,000 or 60,000, that's at $240. Like that's not going to happen. Then here we are. You really, when I tell people it really is, you have to be at peace, and it is actually very easy to be at peace with it, because there's no way I could have held it past $5,000, let alone $60,000. I would have sold it with probably I sold it when I sold it. If I popped to 1,500, I don't know how I would not have sold it at that point. So, it's been very interesting to see how it plays out, and all the new cryptocurrencies coming to the table as well. So it's just a smorgasbord of cryptos coming out.
Next stop's $1 million. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think my son's gonna be like, how could you let go of that? I'm like, dude, you don't even know. It's like, you just enjoy your comfortable middle class American lifestyle and get off my back about that.
That's
and welcome to the hotel. We're going to check you in the future. We only take cryptocurrency. We've all decided that large centralized banks are not to be trusted. So instead we put all our money in fly-by-night Ponzi schemes. So check you in.
Is that a South Park reference from
Yes,
Peacock?
That's from the new
Paramount
the new
Plus.
COVID.
So I don't have that streaming
Paramount
service
Plus.
yet.
It's worth it.
Oh my God. I finally got a Roku, so I'm like, I might as well get it. Now that comes with all free everything for 90 days. So I might have to just get that so I can binge South Park this season.
I just like how you made Roku sound French. That was great. A Roku.
I have a fire.
This we have a Roku.
It's pronounced Roku.
Roku.
Roquois. That's Roku.
Now I had to jump on Paramount Plus, and I can't tell you that I love that I'm on Paramount Plus anymore, that I love that I'm on Peacock, but if you're going to watch any European soccer, you have to have both of them. It's just where it's at.
I like the strategy that each streaming service has
another
one
drug
major...
that I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
I like how each streaming service has one flagship kind of thing you get into, then you look around. Apple TV did that with us with Ted Lasso, and then now we're in Acapulco. We can't stop watching that one. Now we like The Shrink Next Door with the Paul Rudd, Will Ferrell drama. And now we're just waiting. I think now we're locked in for life on that one. So they did a good job on that one. I don't know about Paramount Plus is doing that with South Park. So I'm nervous that I do that now. Next thing you know, I got another streaming service I'm paying for monthly.
Yeah, no, Peacock was the one that I hated the most that I had to get, but NBC has the rights to Premier League, and it went from you could watch them all on the NBC Sports Network app if you just logged in with your cable provider, to we're gonna have our 3 games we put on there anyway on NBC Sports Network, and then you have to watch Peacock for the rest of them. And Peacock, I feel like every time I log in, that site gets more organized and useful. For probably the first year of that being on a platform, you had to have a laptop because it wasn't on any of the Fire Stick or Roku, because they couldn't get that deal done. It's just you don't deserve to be a platform if you can't make that work. But now, that's the best place to watch Yellowstone. I haven't started that one because I haven't decided to give up a substantial amount of time to watch all of those in a row. But they've got Parks and Rec. They've got a handful of good, movies and things of that nature. And so, I guess it's a little more useful. One of my buddies is a big professional wrestling fan, and apparently WWE had this incredible streaming site where everything was really organized, and you could go to a day of broadcast and you could automatically forward to a specific match, and then Peacock bought it and got rid of all of that stuff. So now you have to scroll through 300 episodes that were aired on USA to get to a single match and know where you're going.
I just
I've
like
moved
how
on to. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Oh yeah, just real quick while we're on wrestling here. I just like how WrestleMania, like all the WrestleManias from the '90s when I was a kid, and we didn't have pay-per-view where I was at, and I wanted to watch them all. And then now, I mean, now 30 years later, I can watch them all on YouTube, and I still have the same like excitement for it. So I'm just happy that that came full circle for me. So go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's great. Yeah, I've got to get on that train, man. I want to find some junkyard dog and some of the great matches between what is that is WWF and WWE, is that totally different, or are they
No,
did it evolve?
That's Vince McMahon. So I mean, that's Vince McMahon wrestling. They had to change from WWF to World Wrestling Entertainment. I can't remember what it was, but it came down.
The environmental thing, I go the world.
Yep, there you go.
Someone with the panda logo on it, but they had WWF.
World Wildlife Fund or whatever.
WWF, the F stands for 40. That's how you know you're old, is because you know WWF still.
Yep.
Exactly. But I've actually moved on to Discovery Plus now as far as streaming platforms go, because they have a bunch of good stuff, but they have some Kansas City Police Department show on there now. I guess it's like it's basically like it almost feels like a retooling of another the first 48.
Okay.
But they go into other kind of crimes that happen in Kansas City, and it's just another little slice of home. You get to see all your favorite spots in KC. Yeah, all that.
What's happening in Wyandotte County?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wyandotte County was in there. Yeah, exactly.
What you doing in the Wyandotte
What's going on in Raytown?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we are officially in the weeds right now, so let's get ourselves a little bit back on track. So one thing we do every single week is if this week was a song. So characterize this week to a song. Brian, I'll let you go first.
I'm picking this song because my son was playing this morning. Here I Am, Rocked You Like a Hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Scorpions. Yeah.
He's got he's only 5, but he seems to really enjoy like that hair metal from the 80s stuff. He also likes that Come On Feel the Noise song. So but yeah, Rocked You Like a Hurricane. So even though it's a Kansas, I don't know if there's a tornado reference, but let's go with hurricane for now. And
there you go.
That was the game.
Chris Thomas, what do you got?
Yeah, this song just kept playing through my head during the Raider game, but John Lennon's Instant Karma. I mean, because that was instant karma if there ever was one. So that's my song.
Got it. I'm going to go with Edwin McCain. Could not ask for more. This is a great weekend. KU put one on Missouri. Chiefs put one on the Raiders. Two teams that I just can't stand got beat badly. Chris Wedding, you got one for us?
Yeah, I'll just stick with the wheels on the bus go round and round.
Yes.
I like it.
All right, you won that segment.
Yep.
All right. So anything else we need to talk football, or want to get into final takes?
I'm ready for final takes.
I'm ready.
Yeah, final take. Let's do it.
All right. So just one more thing. Make sure that if you're going to the game this weekend, and we'll mention this again, find the pink lot J, and that's where the LA Chiefs will be. So Chris Wedding is our guest. You can do the first final take.
Yeah, I'll just say if you don't know about it yet, go to facebook.com/Chiefs Los Angeles, and that's where you can probably find the tailgate event and all the actual details. And we'll be announcing all the way through the tailgate. We'll have some live updates and stuff to make sure people are finding us. But my last take is come and party with us, and then let's all go into the stadium and stay loud and proud and give Chiefs home field advantage and walk away with a win.
Sir, Chris Thomas, what you got?
I'll make this pretty short. So TQ Harrison was lost his life at the age of 32 at the end of last week. And if you're not familiar with who TQ Harrison is, he is the older brother of L'Jarius Sneed. So my heart goes out to L'Jarius Sneed and his family. I guess he was extremely close with his older brother. His background, all that L'Jarius's parents were actually in prison. So his brother actually raised him for about the first 6 years of his life. So it was really sorry to hear that for L'Jarius. And, just know that you got Chiefs Kingdom thinking of you. And yeah, man, this my heart's heavy for you, man.
Brian, what do you
got? Actually, Chris Wedding, I didn't really ask you this. You grew up in Lee Summit, or you're born there. Are you a Mizzou guy or a KU guy, or what is your college that you root for?
Well, I had a brother go to KU, and so I probably spent more time in Lawrence than I did Columbia, so I probably lean towards KU.
Okay, so if I forget, Liz, I was going to announce my final take was the KU Mizzou game, and it was fun to see that go down all again with what we saw 9 years ago with the last game to now. And my son got to watch me as he gets older. He gets to see me get more excited for like whenever Christian Brown did that there was a loose ball and he did a dunk. I don't know if you call it tomahawk dunk. He just dunked it. It was loud. It was hard. It was noisy, and it was intense. And you can hear me just like get on my feet and shout like boom, like they're just going. And my son's like, yeah, daddy gets excited during the KU Mizzou game, and he gets excited during March, but during these months he gets really excited during the Mizzou KU game. So it was a lot of fun watching that go down and firing all cylinders. And there's a lot of and the feedback, at least on Twitter, was like, KU was doing really well and they were fired up. And also it's a testament to maybe how Mizzou is not really up to the task. The team's not really what it needs to be. They have a lot of work to do. But be that as it may, it was fun to watch. And let's keep the season going, because I think the Jayhawks are looking really good. So keep it going.
Yeah. So I was going to do something similar to what Chris Thomas said, and mine's just heart goes out to the Denver Broncos organization with Demaryius Thomas. Anybody that knows me knows that there are very few things in this world that I dislike more than Denver Broncos. It is probably my one or two favorite teams to sports hate, along with the St. Louis Cardinals. But that doesn't translate to real hate for the actual people that play there. And Demaryius Thomas, I was shocked to see that he died, and it seemed like it was about as sudden as it could possibly be. And so for all the fans of the Broncos and everybody that was a family member, with him, both as an actual family member being part of that team, because teams like that are family, again, heart goes out to you, and gone way too soon. So
yeah, really cool tribute too by them, lining up with 10 players on the first play of the game. And
Yep. No, it's a really cool tribute that I hoped you didn't have to see. So, but anyway, again, check out Lot J, Pink Stadium parking lot at SoFi this Thursday. Be there or be square. Come watch the Chiefs beat the Chargers at home at SoFi. And until then, take care, Chiefs Kingdom.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.